Was Jolly West using a lot of psychedelic drugs?
I don't actually know how much, but certainly
Quite
he
a bit.
was. And so he was an early, so he started off at the very start of MKUltra. He was working with LSD, sleep deprivation, other psychoactive drugs, and hypnosis.
Did you see the photo of that I showed Joe of Jolly West on the set of 2001: Space Odyssey?
No.
Oh, Steve, pull it up. Have you seen 2001: A Space Odyssey?
I have.
There's a photo of Jolly West walking in between sound stages with Stanley Kubrick on the set of that movie.
Amazing.
I mean, maybe you can confirm. Jamie didn't believe that this was Jolly West, but maybe you can confirm.
That actually, the
Zoom
guy
in.
right behind. Right.
Can you punch in, Steve?
It does look like him, but I can't. So what would he have been doing there, and what year would that be?
What year did they? That's a good question. Steve, find out what year they were filming 2001: A Space Odyssey. Rebecca would probably be the best person to confirm or deny that this could be accurate.
Well, I'm intrigued because I've tried to figure out everything I could about him, and he does like to talk about himself. So he never mentioned that.
Right.
But then
there's a lot of conspiracy theories that say that they got Stanley Kubrick to film the moon landing footage.
So it was released in 68, so it must have been filmed in 67?
Okay. So 66 or 67. It came out usually movies come out a year or two later after they're filmed.
Well, interestingly, so this may or may not be West, but he in 67 and 68, who was in Haight-Ashbury in his hippie, doing his research with at the Haight-Ashbury Medical Clinic and his other research in what he called the Psyche Pad, which was...
Can you find a photo of him from 68?
So I think by 68 he might have looked a little.
Yeah, okay.
This is good.
But I know he grew out his hair, which is one pertinent thing. He said he tried to fit in, and his graduate students who were working on the project described how he was wearing these hippie clothes, and he was maybe growing a beard.
Right. Yeah. This is Tom O'Neill did a very good job of explaining all this in his book Chaos. Yeah. How even the students thought he was like kind of a wacko because he'd be hanging out with them and like getting high all day. And
sit on the couch with his friends.
Yeah.
Like, what is this project?
Any luck, Steve?
I think I found it's not dated. No, there's nothing that's...
You can't find anything, huh?
This is one... Oh, shit. There we go. This is one that I found, but it's not dated.
Yeah. It looks very much like him. I mean, the hairline is identical.
That's the Oklahoma period of West before he went to California. So 67, when if that is him, he was in the middle of transitioning from Oklahoma to California. He was spending his sabbatical year in Haight-Ashbury and in Palo Alto. So I don't know where that was filmed either, but of course he could have gotten around.
Yeah, find out where 2001: Space Odyssey was filmed. You can find all the set locations of it, all the filming locations. Because, just him even being around Stanley Kubrick is suspicious. I mean, whether it was on the set of 2001 or not, Maybe this was on the set. Maybe this was on the set of Clockwork Orange. I mean, you could see how he would be a key contributor to a show like that, right?
Well, this brings us back to what we were talking about. I mean, he'd be a perfect consultant for Clockwork Orange, and it looks more like a set of Clockwork Orange, doesn't it? Than like that looks almost like London or something. But anyway,
it does.
I'm just massively speculating.
I think they actually said that this was London or this was somewhere in Europe, right, Steve?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think this was supposed to be shot in Europe. So maybe
in MGM British Studios in England, Hertfordshire.
So it's hard to tell. I mean, that would make it more like, well, I don't know. So you're saying 2001 was shot there.
I don't know. I thought it was. It's most likally Clockwork Orange was shot there.
Clockwork Orange is. We just talked about how it's from the 80s. It's done in the 80s. So this is definitely more this earlier era.
So filming locations for 2001 was Nambia, Arizona, Scotland, and Hertfordshire.
Okay. I don't know. We need to figure out where that photo was taken and what year, because that would give you It seems way more reasonable that he would be on this working with him on Clockwork Orange, because that's right up Jolly West's alley, and he would be the perfect consultant for something like that. But that's too late.
And
right?
by the 80s, he was denying any connection to the CIA.
Oh, really?
Even though it was in the record, and it was it was in all the papers.
Right.
But he said he had only ever experimented on animals, never on a human being. For years and decades, there are still people who think who were his friends who believed that.
Maintained
he was
that,
so
right?
fervent that he hadn't done any human experimentation.
Were there any close confidants of his that ever spoke out about him, or any said anything about him, other than like I think his son wrote a book, right?
His son wrote a book, but it was more about, you can read the book and discern that he was a difficult father and extremely given to serial affairs, and he had like different families in different places.
Oh my God.
And it caused his wife a lot of suffering in his family, so you get some of the dynamics, but he doesn't talk about that. But they're actually, and he was very good friends with Charlton Heston, which is interesting. What? They went back they had been in the army together, and then even they were in Oklahoma City at the same time for reasons I guess maybe Heston was a struggling actor, and West was in his CIA years, and working for the University of Oklahoma. But they remained friends and lived in houses next to each other, basically in LA at the top of the mountains.
How did Jolly West first get into doing stuff like this?
Well, that is a really good question. I think it was through his mentor during his medical training. So he says he became a patriotic, red-blooded American, physician and scientist because the government paid for his education. This is what he says in one of his statements. And they sent him to medical school. I think it was University of Minnesota. But he did his residency in New York. And at the time he did his residency, Harold Wolff was there. And Wolff was an expert in basically migraine pain, but also in stress and sort of the human body at the limits of stress. He even had this scary-looking machine where he would invert people and see, if it induced headaches, and then he would try to cure them. He was very renowned, but West went to work for him, and Wolff he was the doctor to Allen Dulles' son, who had been injured in the Korean War.
Yeah.
And so through Wolff, early MKUltra funding came through New York. I think it was Columbia. Mm-hmm. And then West he got trained there to work on subjects like hypnosis and other things. And then he relocated to Lackland Air Force Base as a major, and he started up his own MKUltra program or sub-project because he basically, had this conversation with Sid Gottlieb about all the things he wanted to do, and he was so ambitious that Gottlieb said, "You're just the sort of man I think we've been dreaming of." Because he really wanted this kind of zone of free experiment. He wanted to build a space where he could change the conditions. It's really, again, harks back to those behaviorist ideas, like if you could deprive someone of sleep, but also use hypnotic techniques, but also use the alteration of consciousness through drugs, like could you actually totally transform or break a person?
I don't remember where I read this, but I read that they were building black sites around the world outside of America where they could do these experiments on people and avoid the American law. Yeah,
I believe that's true. This was before MKUltra, but part of the CIA. There were various sites. There was a great interest in interrogation and truth serums.
Yes.
So could you, what could you make somebody confess to or, reveal? Really not false confessions, but could you break someone sufficiently that they'd reveal the information they had? So they had prisoners at various sites who could be the subject of terminal experiments. At least this is covered in John Mark's book, which is pretty authoritative. That people, and I think also John Lyle talks about it in his new book. Before MKUltra, there were these experiments where people would basically be killed after being essentially tortured through interrogation.
And where where were they finding these people?
So they were, from, I think some were from North Korea, maybe, and some were.
Good Lord.
There's, I'm forgetting exactly, but they were basically prisoners or spies who nobody was going to be checking up on, or they felt that.
That's so fucked up. And then what's this, Steve?
I found a date from Kubrick himself.
This is
as if he came back.
Somebody has the Stanley Kubrick handle on Twitter. Wow. September 1965, NASA's George Mueller, a senior manager on the Apollo moon landing program, visits Stanley and Arthur C. Clarke as they prepared to shoot 2001: A Space Odyssey. After seeing the film blueprints, models, and sets, Mueller reported, dubbed the studio NASA East. Interesting.
What's even more interesting is other people they have the same question. Like, who's the guy in the back?
Hang on, scroll up. Let me read the top again. So why is so he's visiting Arthur C. Clarke to prepare to shoot 2001: A Space Odyssey. Wow. 65? Does this reconcile with what you know about where he was?
So that it interests me only because I don't know what he was doing in 65. There's kind of a gap after MKUltra. His funding does seem to dry up a bit. He's at the University of Oklahoma. He still does, he does dress in suits at that point. Like later he kind of adopts in the 70s. You see him more in like lumberjack garb, and he's more casual at UCLA. But this would be his look at that period. But I don't know all the things he did in that period, so it would be interesting to know. And we'll say physically it sort of resembles him.
Oh my God.